The RBA calls to shut down real estate to avoid a property crash. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I'm still finishing off my morning stein of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from ABC News that's been sent to me by several viewers, left in the comments as well. And, well, in previous videos I put the question out there. I asked people, what do you think would be the most insane thing that the government would do to prop up property prices? And I frankly didn't even think of the idea of shutting down the entire real estate industry or having a pause for property transactions to avoid a crash. I mean, bloody hell, this just going the whole kit and caboodle. You know, we don't like the way the market's going. Let's just stop the market. You know. And we're in a free market apparently. It's capitalism that's to blame. You know, it'd be nice to actually try have a bit of capitalism for a change, not this crony capitalism with a centrally controlled reserve bank manipulating and intervening in the market. It'd just be nice to give it a try, just for 10 years. Let's see. So, yeah, let's have a look at this, because just from the title, I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a brilliant idea. Let's just shut down parts of the market when and how we choose to avoid, any negative consequences. I'm sure that won't have unintended issues. That wouldn't scream sovereign risk for anyone investing in property in Australia. I mean, why is this even being discussed? This has to be a joke. No, I haven't read this article. This has to be a joke, doesn't it? This is utterly insane. So let's have a look. I mean, all the doctors here, all these doctors, it just shows you, I wonder how many of these doctors is just a coursework, or if they've actually added to the body of knowledge, and if that addition to the body of knowledge is actually worth it. I'm questioning it. I really am. I haven't even read the bloody thing, and I'm already angry. Reserve Bank economists consider urging the federal government to shut down the real estate industry, pausing sales of established homes to avoid perceptions of a pandemic-inspired housing market crash. It's not perceptions if it happens. What if people need to sell their homes? What if people need to sell their homes to maybe pay off for a medical expense, or to retire, or they're saying, that's it, I've had enough of this country. They're going to start toppling the statues and it'll be PC world. I'm moving over to Thailand. And now they can't, because the market's been shut down by the state. Am I the only one that just thinks this is ludicrous, that this is even being suggested in Australia? The fact that this is even getting airtime. This is not some kook in the comments of bloody 4chan or something. Some socialist communist. Documents from inside Australia's central bank, including many marked highly restricted, also suggest housing prices could slump up to 15%. Okay, so why does the RBA have the capability to restrict access to any information? It should all be publicly available. Every single document they produce should be completely available to the public on the internet. Why not? I wonder. Because a whole 50% slump. 15% slump that we're seeing here. But property always goes up, everyone, apparently. This is the ultimate chucking the sink everything at the property sector, isn't it? Can it get any worse than this, than just shutting down the real estate sector? Can you think of anything worse? The internal report contradicts a much rosier public view the Reserve Bank of Australia has been displaying about the billions of dollars and millions of jobs tied up in housing construction and real estate. And I've got some other videos I've actually recorded before this one where new home sales have crashed, where falling home prices are restricting people's abilities to refinance. And I'll release those later today. But you can see it isn't a rosy picture. Meetings of the board's May 5th meeting released publicly noted demand for both new and established housing had fallen, and falling incomes, confidence, and population growth were expected to affect demand for new housing for an extended period. Is anyone even discussing this V-shaped recovery fantasy? The people who I'm going to feel sorry for this the most are the young couples that dove into property, paid above reserve, because you need to get into property. It's always good. And this is going to have a tremendous impact on their lives. I don't give a damn about the investor that's got 6 properties, or the dude that has 200. He'll just sell 20 or 30, worst case. He'll be fine. The investor that's got 6, he'll sell 5 and he'll still have 1 extra to live off. It just means slightly humbler expectations. But the people are going to be locked into negative equity for, 10, 20 years? But inside the RBA, which sets key interest rates and economic direction, the warnings were much clearer and more severe. Well, here's the thing. Do we have a list of all the employees in the RBA? And can we see if what real estate transactions they're making? Should people working for government organizations, should all their investment decisions be made public all the time? What do you think? It's an invasion of privacy, Florian. We can't have it. Who cares? They're servants. They get all the perks. They're never going to get fired. Tough. That's the price you pay. What do you think? Let me know what you think about that one, guys. Because if they're all selling, if they're all jumping ship, then it's become clear that there's been a big drop-off in demand for new housing, said speaking notes for Assistant Governor of Economics, Lucy Ellis, which were obtained through the Freedom of Information request. Well, good on the ABC for doing that. Beyond difficulties inspecting and selling houses, people were worried about job security. Contracts are being cancelled, early-stage buyers. Interest is very weak, and the pipeline is emptying, it noted. Anything that hasn't already been started is being deferred. And here's the thing. Here's my big concern with the whole home buyer. I know the reasoning behind the home buyer grant system. It's smarter to encourage spending in the private sector than just to throw it at social housing. But we've got other rules that are allowing businesses to trade insolvent. Construction is a notorious industry for that. We'll have to see. And a day earlier, there were more stern warnings in a pandemic message update. Demand for new housing has declined substantially since mid-March and is expected to decrease further, it read, with sharp falls in sales, inquiries and foot traffic, and increases in contract cancellation rates. A sharp fall in house prices is predicted in a note marked highly restricted and created on April 18. Housing prices are expected to decline by around 7% over the next year. Prices are expected to remain around 10% lower than at the February statement over the forecast horizon. It read, putting most of this down to a loss of confidence because of the pandemic. Well, and what about the complete decline in international migration and tourism and international students? That's going to have an impact on tourist numbers, on demand for property, even holidays. Then the Airbnbs we're seeing flooding the market. I can't believe they're even suggesting this, even in an internal document. But it shows you they're not free market pundits. They're all Keynesians. They're all interventionalists. Everyone is an interventionalist. Maybe we just need to get a portion of Australia, a big chunk of it, and just say, okay, this is a free market zone. Put a big wall up and keep everyone else out. I bet you'd do a lot better than that bloody Chaz over in the US. What do you think? Where they're shitting on vegetables and growing cardboard, and they've got warlords running around. But that's the socialism that people want. That's another topic. I'm going off on tangents again. The overall security of the banking sector and its ability to weather some mortgage failures will mitigate larger declines in prices caused by forced sales and financial stress. The fall in house prices could be as little as 2% in the best scenario. In the downside, worst scenario, prices fall by 15%. So a real estate shutdown considered. In April, economist Nick Garvin wrote to colleagues warning them the RBA should stop discussing the housing market as if it was operating normally and calling for a halt, as happens to stock market trading in emergencies. This is insane. I think it's dangerous for regulators to be reporting on housing prices as though the market is currently functioning, he wrote. I'd suggest we classify the market as paused and treat the prices observed before the pause as the current prices, like how equity markets operate but on a larger scale. The pause would not mean There was no activity, he wrote, although it would indeed be wise to recommend that the government temporarily halt all sales of established dwellings. The government halt all sales of established dwellings. The government halt all sales of established dwellings. Welcome to the free market of Australia, where the government can step in, force you to shut down your business, force you to jump through all these stupid bloody hoops, and now they want to be able to allow you to force you to stop selling your homes. Welcome to Australia. Maybe we need to put that on the advertisement for the migrants that the Property Council wants to bring over in. We should warn them. We should warn them, and you'll get suckered in here. And your children will be stuck paying for all this shit. Shutting down real estate sales would send a statement that we're in a different category of situation. Yeah, it would decimate confidence. It would decimate confidence. How could this even be contemplated? And that normal reporting of clearance rates and average prices was misleading. Well, people have been I've been talking about that for months. It doesn't make any sense. But then you got people who happen to have, just by coincidence, all of their wealth invested in property, talking it up to the bloody moon. It just. I know we're in clown world, everyone. I know we're living in clown world. Even without shuttering all sales, pausing reporting on the market would be a fair classification, because real estate agents could not work normally. If people start mistakenly thinking that we're experiencing a housing market crash, it's not going to help things, he added. So banks may have prompted the home builder scheme. The RBA's report on the deteriorating situation in construction may have influenced the announcement of the government's home builder program in early June. Yeah, that's not a surprise at all. In an April report marked highly restricted, the Reserve Bank warned the industry was staring at a cliff. Although some builders and developers have sufficient work for the next 4 to 6 months, the weakness in demand for new housing and the potential deterioration of financing conditions pose serious downside risk to future activity, it said. And I mean, we're tempted to jump on the home builder to take advantage of it, because we've got renovation work that we're planning to do. But I'm probably going to hold off. I'll let them keep the 25 grand. And just hold off, because there's too many uncertainties right now in the market. I want all the crappy builders who are zombie companies, who are not paying people, who are shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic. I want them to go under before I jump back in with a big spend. Maybe that just shows my confidence. Maybe I'm consuming too much news. Maybe the fact that ABC is getting access to this restricted information that should be publicly available, which is if you do a lengthy free FOI request. In Melbourne, some of the RBA's contacts have seen new home sales drop by half. By May, things were worse. Builders of detached housing expect weak demand to weigh on construction activity and cash flow beyond their current pipeline, around 4 to 9 months. Builders and developers report that domestic banks and non-bank financiers have become more conservative in their lending. Most firms intend to defer or cancel investment. Many firms have reduced staff hours worked, more so than headcount, and an increasing number of firms expect to implement a wage freeze in the year ahead. SQM research founder Lewis Christopher said the documents showed the depth of the concern the bank held about the real estate market and the huge number of workers employed in construction and housing. Well, it just shows you that, as I've said in previous videos, they're going to chuck everything they can at property. Property is Australia's stock market. Like, in the US, it's all about the stock market. Here in Australia, it's all about bloody property. It's all about houses. Every TV show, every get-rich-quick scheme, it's all about property. It's crazy. And property isn't that advanced, guys. House built 100 years ago compared to a house built now. I mean, it's probably crappier quality now with more doodads and insulation and garbage on the inside that you don't need, that you can put up with a bit of cold, particularly if depending on where your heritage is, you can put up with it. It'll toughen you up. It'll be good for you. And maybe we wouldn't have so many snowflakes running around thinking the world's coming to an end. No bloody resilience in our civilization. That's what I blame it on. I blame it on insulation. Insulation is what's causing the weakness in this next generation. Let me know if you think that theory's right. Anyway, back to this. This is getting me annoyed, guys. That's why I'm rambling. Their concerns may have been prompted by the federal government to offer recent grants to new housing, as the steep falls in dwelling investment was their primary concern. The scheme was announced on June 3rd. So safe as houses. In May, Australia's largest banks warned house prices could fall 32% in a prolonged downturn. An economist at the Commonwealth Bank, which holds more Australian mortgages than any other, warned that under a worst-case scenario, house prices will fall by almost a third from March 22 peak over the next 3 years. CBA's chief executive, Matt Comney, told ABC TV's The Business the bank had to plan for the worst. We need to be prudent and consider a realistic downturn, but also plan for a worst-case scenario that would see a sustained increase of unemployment. House prices were lower in May, according to research firm CoreLogic, ahead of larger concerns with mortgage pausing, the temporary halts of payments ending in September, and the exemption from trading while insolvent will also end in September, and the bonus to the job seeker will also end in September, and job keeper will also end in September. National house prices fell an average of 0.4%, but there was a significant variation across regions. Payments of more than 1 in 14 mortgages are currently paused by the Australian banks. 1 in 14. The ABA revealed repayments of 429,000 mortgages worth $153.5 billion have been put on hold so far. So there you go, guys. I was asking and concerned with what the most drastic interventions could be, and even I didn't think they would just shut down the entire bloody real estate market. I mean, the fact that that's even being discussed just shows you, and it's frankly, it's quite terrifying that the government could implement, even consider things like this. Would this have even been put on the table 5 years ago? I mean, we're living in a world where some nations have negative interest rates. It's just crazy. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us via our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay or Independent Reserve and Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.